everybody, my name is Sam, and today we're going to be talking about script referencing. So, I've recently acquired this wonderful little factory, and it's been working pretty well, but there's been some bugs in the system, like occasionally it does this thing. Like, what the hell's going on right here? We don't want that at all. So, with the press of a button, we can shut that off, and everything's working great. Now, the way this works is we have an item spawner and we have our control panel, and each one has a script on it. Now, the item spawner has a spawn item script, and the control panel is a different script that connects to the item spawner and controls parts of it. I'm going to go ahead and delete pieces of code out of here, and then we can get started on how this actually works. So if I go over to the spawn item script, we can see a couple of really key features. So now we have a coroutine here that basically just spawns an item every however long, every 1 second, every time between spawns, and then destroys it after 5 seconds. So that's really simple, okay? All we've done is we've hidden our variables in the inspector so we can't access them. So we have to have some way to influence these through another script, which comes in our control panel. So, now the question is, how do we connect our control panel to our spawn item script? And this is where script referencing comes in. So, let's first talk about the difference between public and private variables. So if we have a public game object, and let's call it machine, then this is going to be accessible from any script. Because it's public, we can access it from outside of the script and we can mess with it from the inspector. If I set it to private, not only could we not edit it from the inspector, but it could not be accessed from any other script. So we're going to keep this public because I want to be able to set it in the inspector. Now, what if we want to be able to change the spawn force and the time between spawns in our spawn items? Well, to do that, then we have to get a reference to that script. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, on our control panel in the inspector, we can set our time between spawns and our spawn force. So basically, all we have to do is set our spawn items time between spawns and spawn force to our control panel's time between spawns and spawn force. Basically, we're just linking those two together. So the way to do that, if you have a reference to the game object, which we do because we're saying public game object machine, and we're going to drag in the machine to this script, and therefore we have a reference to it. So the code that makes this work is game object and then .get component, and we want the script on it, so we're saying game object got get component spawn items, and then we want to say time between spawns. And now with this piece of script right here, we have access to the time between spawns variable on this spawn item script. And what we can do is we can say, just like we could say in here, that time between spawns is equal to 10f, we can do the exact same thing from our other script. So we can say that this time between spawns is equal to our time between spawns. And since it's doing that every single frame, anytime we make changes to our time between spawns on our control panel, it will reflect to our spawn items. So let's just go ahead and do the exact same thing for our spawn force. And then, therefore, if we go back into Unity, we'll see that if we change the time between spawns to 0.2, they're spawning a whole lot faster, and if we change the spawn force to 0.8, they're going to start spawning at a greater force, and I can change that up to maybe 50, and we'll start to see that they're just shooting out of here like nothing else. Awesome. So what if we don't want to have a reference to the game object in order to change the script, in order to get a reference to the script? Well, what we can do is we can get a reference to the script directly. So to do that, what you say is you make a new public variable with the name of your script, and I'm just going to call it spawn items. And then what we can do is say, instead of machine.getComponent, we can just say spawn items, because we can drag in this script in the Unity inspector, and of course it'll work just like before. So if I remove that out and we drag in that items, it'll automatically get that item spawner script. Now if we hit play, we'll notice that there is no difference in the functionality of this, because we're still getting a script and it's working really, really well. So if we go back into Visual Studio, to summarize, to get a reference to a script, we either need a game object or a direct reference to the script. Now what if we want to be able, or what if we don't want to have to drag in the script in order to get this to work? Well, we can use gameObject.find. Now if I go back to when we were using the game object, like so, what I can do is I can make our game object machine private so that I can't set it in the inspector. And then what I can do is I can say machine is equal to gameObject.find, and then I just have to type in the name of the game object. So I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to go back into Unity, and it's called item spawner. And we can go ahead and type in item spawner. And what this will do is it'll say on start, our machine is equal to whatever game object in your scene is named item spawner, and then it will get a reference to that spawn item script. And now doing so, we can see that our control panel is in fact controlling our factory, and everything is working just super duper well. So that is the basics of script referencing. If there are any questions, don't hesitate to comment and ask me, and I'll make sure to get back to you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and you guys have a great day.